My mom said my wife wasn't family for Thanksgiving. So I hung up, took her to Paris, and redirected every dollar I'd been sending them. Okay, so imagine this. I'm standing in my kitchen, phone wedged against my ear, a half-packed pie box on the counter. My mom's voice, colder than any Dallas winter, cuts straight through me. Your wife isn't welcome. She's not exactly family. And just like that, my entire world, everything I thought I knew, felt like it was splitting in two. It was the day before Thanksgiving, you know? Turkey brining, football mumbling in the background, the usual. My little girl, Emma, she's 6, was coloring turkeys at the table. She heard every word. Her marker just froze mid-feather, and she looked up at me, eyes wide, that way kids do when they sense something's terribly wrong but can't quite grasp it. Mom, she mouthed, her voice barely a whisper. My wife, Mia, was at the sink rinsing sweet potatoes, humming a little tune. She caught my face and the humming stopped. The water shut off. And my mom? She just kept going, like she was ordering off a menu. You can come, Caleb. Of course you can. But her and the girl, it's just not the same. This is for real family. Real family. My hand went numb around the phone. Emma's lower lip started to tremble. She looked from me to Mia, then back, as if waiting for one of us to say it was all just a big, cruel joke. I didn't explode. The fiery speech forming in my throat, I swallowed it down. My pulse hammered in my ears. I just said, very quietly, got it. Then I hung up. Emma whispered, are we in trouble? It took everything I had to say, no, baby, we're not. But inside my head, something finally, completely snapped. Not rage, not even shock. Just done. Look, I'm Caleb. 37, a firefighter just outside Dallas. I pulled 24-hour shifts, see things I don't talk about over dinner, then come home to a little brick rental with a tiny driveway and a backyard Emma calls a forest, even if it's just 4 trees and a fence. Mia and I, we've been married 3 years. Emma's my biological daughter. Mia came into our lives when Emma was 2. My parents? They've never missed a chance to use the word step when they introduce Mia. This is Mia, Caleb's wife, and that's Emma, his little girl. Like a disclaimer. Like she needed a trial period. On paper, I've been a good son. When Dad slipped a disc, I started sending $600 a month. AC died? My card, $3,200. Roof leak? Personal loan, $5,000. Paid off their credit card for $1,800. Over 5 years, it added up. Auto transfers, emergency Venmos, I'll pay you back, texts that never materialized. Do the math, it's about 18 grand. $18,000 to be treated like their personal ATM with a siren on top. The money always went through me. They never asked Mia. Never even thanked her, even though she was the one sitting with me at 11 p.m., going over our budget, figuring out how to make it work. They loved the help, son. They just didn't love the parts of my life that came with it. The thing is, this Thanksgiving call wasn't out of nowhere. It was just the first time my mom said the quiet part out loud. There were smaller cuts before. Emma's 5th birthday, the first after Mia and I married. My parents showed up late, empty-handed, because gifts would be confusing since she has 2 households now. My ex and her parents were there. They brought a dollhouse, a stack of books. My parents? They complained about parking. Or last Christmas, Mom hung stockings with all the grandkids' names in glitter glue. Lucas, Brody, Haley. Emma's stocking? A pre-printed grandkid one from the dollar store. She's only here half the time, Mom whispered, like that made it logical. Emma, bless her heart, still smiled. Held the generic stocking and said, look, Dad, this one can be for everyone. She's better than any of us. I kept telling myself they'd come around. If I just kept showing up. If I kept helping. If I smoothed over the edges, made excuses. They're old school, I'd say. They don't get blended families. They're trying. I said it so many times it stopped sounding like words. The money grew slowly, too. Dad retired early. Mom hadn't worked since I was in middle school. There was always something. Your father's truck needs brakes. Property taxes went up. We're a little short this month. Started with $200 here, $300 there. Then it turned into, Could you just set something up automatically so we don't have to keep asking? It's embarrassing, Caleb. So I did, for $150 every other Friday, the same day I got paid. Add in the roof, the AC, the credit card, surprise medical bills. Yeah, 18 grand sounds about right. Mia and I used to talk about going to Paris for our 5th anniversary. I remember opening our savings app and just laughing. At this rate, I said, by the time we can afford it, we'll be 80. She just gave me that small, tired smile. Hey, at least we'll be cute old tourists. We were saving 50 here, 100 there, but it kept getting raided by emergencies that weren't ours. Paris became a joke dream. Until my mom told me my wife and daughter weren't really family. After I hung up, the kitchen went deadly quiet. Mia wiped her hands on a towel. What happened? I sat across from Emma. Her turkey drawing had an orange smear where her hand had shaken. What did Grandma say? She asked. I wanted to lie. Wanted to say Grandma's sick, Grandma's tired, Grandma forgot how phones work. Instead, I took a breath. She said something very unkind, I told her. About your mom. And about you coming over. Emma's eyebrows pinched. She doesn't want us there. Mia stepped closer. Hey, that's on them, not you, okay? You didn't do anything wrong. Emma's eyes started to shine. She pressed her lips together, physically holding tears in. I made her a turkey, she whispered. I put her glasses on it. She'd drawn them lopsided, with my mom's gray streak through the feathers. She'd been so proud. Something in my chest twisted hard. They don't get your turkey, I said. They don't get you. They don't deserve you. Mia looked at me over Emma's head, a question in her eyes. But there was no walking this back. I stood up, went to the counter where my phone lay face down. Picked it up. Opened my banking app. Stared at the numbers I'd been pretending not to see. There it was. Asterisk automatic transfer, Mom and Dad. Next run, Friday, $4.50. Asterisk I clicked. Edit. My thumb hovered. Then I hit cancel transfer. A little confirmation popped up. Are you sure? Oh yeah. I'd never been so sure of anything in my life. That's one thing, I said out loud. Mia frowned. One thing? What? I scrolled a few more screens into our savings account. That sad little vacation fund Mia and I had been feeding scraps to for 3 years. Balance, $3,200. Plus the $450 that wasn't going out on Friday, and the $450 after that, and my Christmas bonus I knew my mom was already planning around in her head. A thought hit me so hard I almost laughed. Mia, I said, what would you do if I told you we could go? To Paris now. She blinked. Now as in someday now? Or now as in? As in I can book it tonight, I said, if we're okay flying coach and staying in a small hotel with suspiciously floral bedspreads. She stared at me like I'd started speaking another language. Caleb, that money is the same money I've been sending them, I finished, my voice shaking once, then leveling out. The same money they're using to host dinners our daughter isn't welcome at. I'm done paying to be told my family doesn't count. Emma, confused but catching the energy, brightened. Paris, she whispered. The tower? The sparkly one? Yeah, bug, I said. The sparkly one. Her mouth made a little O. Mia set the dish towel down carefully. Are you sure? She asked. I don't want to be the reason you cut them off. I don't want them blaming me. They already blame you, I said. Might as well give them the right reason. I walked over and kissed her forehead. Pack warm clothes. We're going to eat croissants instead of dry turkey this year. Booking it felt unreal. I sat at the table after Emma went to bed, laptop open, credit cards sweating in my hand. Dallas to Paris. Red-eye flights. Not cheap, but not impossible when you're not bleeding out money for someone else's bills. Hotel near the Latin Quarter. Tiny room. Breakfast included. Photos looked like someone's grandma decorated it in 1987. I loved it instantly. I kept thinking about that number, $18,000. This trip, for the 3 of us, flights, hotel, reasonable budget for food, a few tourist things Emma wouldn't remember in detail but would feel in her bones. $5 grand. $5,000 to give my wife a week where she wasn't, not exactly family. $5,000 to show my daughter the world is bigger than one ugly opinion. And the most expensive thing, the thing I couldn't put a price on? $5,000 to prove to myself that my job is not to sacrifice everything for people who won't do the bare minimum of kindness. I pressed confirm booking, got the little spinning wheel. Then the email, your trip to Paris is confirmed. Mia stared at the screen, hand over her mouth. Are we really doing this? She whispered. Yeah, I said. We are. Instead of driving 10 miles to watch my mom carve a turkey and pretend my wife doesn't exist, we were going 5,000 miles across an ocean. It felt like breathing after being underwater for years. I didn't call my parents back. I sent one text to the family group chat, we won't make it for Thanksgiving. Plans changed. Happy holidays. My brother Mark replied with a thumbs up and a turkey emoji. My mom left it on read. We flew out the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Emma wore the little backpack with cat ears Mia bought her, clutching a stuffed Dalmatian one of the guys at the station gave her. Like, Daddy's work dog, she said. She pressed her face to the plane window during takeoff and whispered, it's like the world is a Lego set. Mia reached for my hand, squeezed it hard. Thank you, she said, for choosing us. I wanted to say, for the first time, but I didn't. Paris was cold and bright, and overwhelming in the best way. We did the tourist stuff. Eiffel Tower at night. Hot chocolate so thick you could almost stand a spoon in it. Emma fell in love with a carousel in some random square and insisted we ride it 3 times. On Thanksgiving Day, we walked along a street, eating crepes, instead of sitting in my parents' dining room listening to my dad complain about kids these days. We found a small place serving some version of roast chicken and potatoes. We can pretend this is turkey, Mia laughed. Halfway through, Emma held up her glass of orange juice. Cheers, she said. To our tiny family. I clinked my water glass against hers. To our tiny family, I repeated. My phone buzzed a couple of times that day. I ignored it. That night, back at the hotel, I finally checked. The group chat was full of pictures from their dinner. Cousins around the table, my parents' house looking extra polished, a photo of the turkey, a shot of my mom's centerpiece that was really just fake leaves around a candle. And then my brother posted a screenshot of my Instagram story. It was a simple picture, Mia and Emma in their winter coats, backs to the camera, looking at the Eiffel Tower lit up. I'd captioned it, Happy Thanksgiving from Paris. Mark commented under it in the family chat, must be nice to waste money. I stared at that for a long time. I could have ignored it. Logged off, gone to sleep. Instead, I felt that old familiar heat in my chest, and then something colder, clearer right behind it. I typed slowly. No yelling, no all caps. It is nice, I wrote. By the way, that's the same money I've been sending to Mom and Dad. Just redirected it. I hit send. No one replied for about 10 minutes. Then the messages started. Mom, excuse me, Mark, what is that supposed to mean? Dad, call me now. I didn't. Mia saw my face and touched my arm. You okay? Yeah, I said. They finally know. We put Emma to bed in the tiny cot by the window. She fell asleep holding the Dalmatian by its tail. Mia and I lay there, listening to Paris traffic noises we didn't recognize. At exactly 2:03 a.m. Paris time, my phone started ringing. Dad. On the screen. I stared at it for a long second. Then I answered. He didn't say hello. Are you in your right mind? He snapped. What kind of man cuts his parents off without even warning them? There it was. Not, you're in Paris? That's great. How's Emma? Is she having fun? Just the money. I did warn you, I said quietly. When Mom said my wife and daughter weren't welcome at Thanksgiving. That was the warning. That's not what she said. He shot back immediately. You know your mother. She gets worked up. She didn't mean. She said your wife isn't welcome. She's not exactly family, I repeated the word slowly. And she lumped Emma in with that. Emma was right there, Dad. She heard it. He went silent for half a beat. Kids are resilient, he said finally. You can't throw away years of support over one misunderstanding. Your mother is devastated. She's been crying all day. I closed my eyes. Dad, I said, do you know how much I've sent you in the last 5 years? He scoffed. Is this about keeping receipts now? 18,000, I said. Give or take. House, AC, credit card, monthly transfers. 18 grand that could have been in Emma's college fund, or a house down payment, or… I don't know, Paris. He started to say something, but I kept going. And after all that, the first time I do something for my own family with that money, my brother calls it wasting it. You call it 2 in the morning to demand I explain myself, and Mom tells my wife she's not family? I sat up in bed, careful not to wake Mia. I'm not your backup bank anymore, Dad. You're off my accounts. The money's staying here. He exhaled loud enough it crackled through the speaker. What are we supposed to do? He asked. The mortgage is due next week. We already counted on that transfer. That's the problem, I said. You counted on money that was never guaranteed, while treating the people supplying it like optional accessories. That's not fair, he snapped. We raised you. We gave you everything. You gave me a childhood and a roof, I said. I'm grateful. That debt's paid. This, I gestured around the dim hotel room. Though he couldn't see it, this is for my family now. He went quiet. Then, softer, this is your wife's doing. She's turning you against us. A good woman wouldn't let her husband abandon his parents like this. There it was. The line I'd been expecting. Mia didn't cancel the transfers, I said. I did. Mia didn't say Emma wasn't family. You and Mom did. Stop using her as a shield. He made a disgusted sound. You'll regret this, he said. When she leaves you and you come crawling back, don't expect us to. I hung up. My hands were shaking again, but not like before. Not from fear. From finally putting the fire out instead of just sitting in the smoke. The fallout wasn't subtle. By the time we woke up for breakfast, my phone had 37 new notifications. Texts from Mom, long ones, full of phrases like, after all we've done, ungrateful, she's brainwashing you, and you're breaking your father's heart. A paragraph about how they'd already booked a cruise for next spring and were counting on your help like always. Mark chimed in with, you embarrassed them in front of everyone over a comment. Grow up. My sister, Tori, sent a different message. Hey, I heard what Mom said. That's messed up. I'm sorry. That one I actually answered. Thanks, I wrote. Paris is nice, by the way. She replied with a heart emoji and a picture of her kids in the backyard holding a Happy Thanksgiving sign they'd clearly made themselves. Show Emma, she wrote. They miss her. I did. Emma grinned, mouth full of baguette. My cousins, she said proudly. Yeah, I said. Your cousins. Not everyone was against us. That mattered. I didn't answer my parents. Didn't argue. Didn't send a long essay explaining my feelings. The boundary was already set. Money stays here. My wife and daughter come first. Everything else? Just noise. When we got back from Paris, life slipped back into its usual rhythm. Alarms at 5 a.m. Coffee that tasted like dirt at the station. Sirens, calls, smoke. Only now, when payday hit, my phone didn't ping with an automatic transfer to Mom and Dad. It just stayed. I opened a new savings account and labeled it Emma Future. First deposit, $450. It felt tiny and huge at the same time. We spent one Saturday afternoon printing out our favorite Paris photos and hanging them in the hallway. Emma taped her Eiffel Tower drawing between them. This is our museum, she announced. Mia kissed my cheek. We really did it, she said. We picked us. It was quiet. No dramatic soundtrack, no lightning bolt moment. But my shoulders felt lighter, in a way I hadn't even realized I was carrying. My parents didn't take the hint. Of course, they didn't. They showed up at our house 2 weeks before Christmas, just to talk. I only opened the door because I saw Tori's minivan behind them and thought maybe she'd come too. She hadn't. It was just them. Mom's eyes were red, like she'd either been crying or worried someone might think she hadn't been. Dad went straight for serious. We're not staying long, he said. We just want to clear the air. Emma was on the living room rug with her Legos. When she saw them, she froze. Hi, sweetie, Mom chirped. We missed you at Thanksgiving. Emma looked at me first. I nodded once. She gave a tiny wave. Hi. Dad looked past her like she was a lamp. Caleb, he started. We talked to Pastor Jim. He said family should work through things, not cut each other off. We're not cut off, Mom added quickly. We're just hurt and confused. You could have talked to us before you did something so drastic. You mean canceling the money? I asked. Mom winced. It's not about the money. Okay, I said. Good. Because you're not getting it back. Dad's jaw clenched. We're behind, he snapped. Between the cruise deposit and the heating bill, we're in a bind. You know that. And you know we've always counted on your support. I glanced toward the hallway where our Paris photos hung. You put a vacation deposit down before paying your heating bill? I asked. And you were counting on my support for that? He didn't answer. Mom switched tactics. Your brother said you bragged in the group chat about wasting money on that trip. I corrected him, I said. I told him it's the same money I've been sending you. Just redirected. I'm allowed to redirect my own money. She flinched at the word. Money should not come with strings, she said. We never raised you to be transactional. I almost laughed. You're right, I said. So, let's call this what it is. This isn't me charging you. This is me stopping. I will not fund a family my wife and daughter aren't a part of. That's the whole sentence. Mom's eyes filled with angry tears. We never said Emma wasn't family, she protested. You twisted what I said. You told me my wife wasn't welcome. You lumped Emma in. She heard every word, my voice stayed calm, even when my hands didn't. You can pretend you don't remember. But she does. Emma's Lego figure dropped from her hand. She didn't want my turkey, she said quietly. All three of us looked at her. Emma's cheeks were pink. She was staring at the floor, but her voice was clear. I drew Grandma with glasses, she said. Daddy said we could take it. Then you said we shouldn't come. Mom opened and closed her mouth like a fish. I was upset, she stammered. I didn't mean for you to hear. But she did, I said. You can't unring that bell. Dad huffed. So that's it? Years of help just gone? Over one bad phone call? It's not one call, I said. It's the stockings, the birthdays, the comments. The way you treat Emma like a guest and Mia like a problem. The phone call was the last straw. The money ending is the consequence. Mom sniffed. Your sister thinks you're overreacting. She said Mark says Mia's got you wrapped around her finger. Funny, I said. Because in Paris, when my dad called at 2 a.m., Mia was sleeping while I canceled the transfers. I stepped back and opened the door wider. I'm not banning you from my life, I said. But the bank is done. If you want a relationship with us, it's not going to be one where I'm always paying and you're choosing who counts. You can either be grandparents to Emma and respectful to my wife, or you can be people I knew a long time ago. That's your choice. They just stared at me. Dad finally muttered, You'll come crawling back. Maybe, I said, but I doubt it. I nodded toward the driveway. Mom's eyes darted to Emma one last time. Come on, Jim, she said tightly. We're wasting our time. They left. Emma walked over after the door closed, slipping her hand into mine. Are they still mad? She asked. Probably, I said. Are we in trouble? She asked again. I shook my head. No, Bug, I said. We're just not their bank anymore. That's all. She thought about that. Okay, she said. Can we make hot chocolate? Yes, Mia called from the kitchen. Extra marshmallows. We're celebrating. Celebrating what? Emma asked. Mia poked her head around the corner, a smear of flour on her cheek from the cookies she was making. Us, she said. We're celebrating us. Christmas came, and we didn't drive across town or dress up for anyone. We stayed home. Tori texted that morning that Mom was pouting, Dad was ranting about ungrateful kids, and Mark was fake agreeing while his wife glared at him. Then, we're coming over after lunch, if that's okay. I told her, doors open. Bring whatever or nothing. By noon, our table was set for 4. By 3, it was 10. Tori, her kids, my cousin with definitely not stolen cookies. Even a guy from the station escaping his in-laws. We dragged up folding chairs. Emma tore around in reindeer socks, screaming with her cousins. No one asked where my parents were. They already knew. At some point, I noticed the 2 empty chairs I'd sat near the wall without thinking. Where my parents might have sat. Emma pointed. Who's that for? Just extra, I said. For people who decide to show up later. She nodded and went back to Legos. After dessert, she disappeared and came back with a drawing. Me, Mia, and Emma under the Eiffel Tower, hearts in the sky. My family written across the top. My throat burned. "Can we put it on the fridge?" she asked. "Right in the middle," I said. Looking at that picture, I realized I didn't actually want my parents' approval anymore. I wanted this. A home where my kid never has to ask if she's real family. And where my money builds our life, not patches theirs.